Ciao tutti, buongiorno. I'm Chef Chan. Are you ready to cook like an Italian? Good, because we're making homemade pasta today. We're making homemade cavatelli. Look at these little pasta gummy worms. That's exactly what they look like. There's two ways to make cavatelli. One is with a cavatelli machine, and the other is with a gnocchi board. So we're gonna do both today. I've got my beautiful salted water all ready to go. And the thing about dough is you want it to be nice and light. You don't want a hard ball. And so to do that, when you mix your pasta dough, you're mixing the flour and the eggs and the oil. Hold back on the water. Bring the water in a little at a time, and then you can get a feel for this light, beautiful dough. If you're dumping all your water into your pasta dough, you're gonna end up with a hard ball, and then you're always overcompensating with more flour, more water. So just that's the step. Hold back on the water. So I've got a beautiful dough here. And so the thing about cavatelli and the cavatelli machine is you want to add a lot of flour to your dough. So you're going to roll it out into long, thin ropes. And then all you're going to do is bring it right through the machine. Look at this. You want to get the kids involved in pasta making, this is the machine to buy, and I've got all the information for you on my website. But anyway, it's that simple, really fun. The secret here is to flour the dough a lot. And we'll do one more. Isn't that beautiful? And it's so fun. What you can do is dry this and use it later, or put it right in the water. As you know, with homemade fresh pasta, it only takes a couple of minutes in the water. Now, if you want to make cavatelli with the gnocchi board, which is the real traditional, you're just going to roll up a little ball, and then with your thumb, you're just going to press down, and it looks a lot like a gnocchi, but you want it long and thin. That does look like a pasta gummy, I'll tell you that. Let's do one more. And you know what, it just takes practice. So you're gonna apply some pressure with your thumb, roll it on, and there you have a cavatelli. Very fun. Both ways are fun. So I'm gonna get these in the water. In the meantime, we're gonna serve these with a beautiful Alfredo sauce. So simple, 3 ingredients, and you've got it made. So here we go, into the water. Remember, just a couple of minutes, and we'll be right back to get that Alfredo all ready to go. We're cooking like an Italian today. Okay, look at the cavatelli. They're just about ready to go. Little morsels of goodness that are going to be enrobed in Alfredo sauce today, but they're so good with a marinara sauce or a bolognese or a vodka sauce. Love it. And little bite-sized bites of goodness. I wanted to share another idea that I love to do when I make homemade pasta, and I love to serve them on top of the platter. This is a Corsetti stamp, and these are ancient, and they're so beautiful. You could actually make a whole meal with the Corsetti discs, but I think they're really pretty right on top. So what you're gonna do is lay out a flat piece of pasta, and then you're just gonna stamp it and get the circle out of there like that. And then there's all sorts of different styles and shapes. This one is a Tuscan sun. This one is the Medici fleur-de-lis. So I'm just gonna press down on the sun. Look at that, isn't that beautiful? I'm gonna do one more. Let's do the fleur-de-lis. I'll tell you what, these things are very available. You can find them online. They're called Corsetti stamps. I'll give you more information on my website. Look at how beautiful. These are little coins, and they were actually created for family, sort of like almost a family coat of arms or a crest. So every family had their own traditional Corsetti stamp, but I just think these are beautiful. You know what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna pop these in the water, and when we plate it, you're gonna see how pretty they look, okay? All right, now we're gonna make the Alfredo sauce. So let me go get some butter, and I'll be right back, and we will plate this cavatelli up. We're cooking like an Italian. Welcome back to Cook Like an Italian. So we've made cavatelli, and now I'm making a beautiful Alfredo sauce. Alfredo sauce could not be easier. Turn this down a little bit. It's butter, cream, and cheese. Now you can add a little bit of garlic powder in there. You can add a little bit of nutmeg if you like. And then it calls for pepper, but if you don't like the black specks in your Alfredo, you can use white pepper. But let me tell you something, white pepper and black pepper are not interchangeable. You can't substitute one for the other. White pepper brings out all the spices and all the flavors of the other spices and herbs that you use. Black pepper is the flavor that you know, the black pepper, but white pepper has a completely different culinary property. So if you're going to use white pepper in your Alfredo, go very, very, very little. I would use less than 1/8 of a teaspoon, because the more white pepper you use, it's pretty strong. Okay, so I'm just getting these heated up, and I'm going to pour in some cheese. You want some good quality Parmigiano cheese. You know, I've talked about this a lot with Italian cooking. The reason Italian cooking is so delicious and so popular is because it doesn't take a lot of ingredients at all. But those ingredients have to be very, very good quality. Good quality olive oil, like the olive oil I'm using on this show, Queen Creek. Good pasta. So just, you know, good tomatoes, good garlic. And never, promise me this right now, you will never buy garlic in a jar. Ever, ever, ever. Say that for me. It's gonna ruin your dish. You can find garlic readily available everywhere you go, all day, all year long. So just use fresh garlic, please. Okay, I'm just gonna get this thickened up a little bit. We're gonna get the cavatelli out of the water, and we will plate up a beautiful plate of love. Look. Aren't these beautiful? So the cavatelli are below and the corsetti are on top, and they're just making a beautiful, beautiful story. And so my Alfredo sauce is done. This is the quickest sauce you can possibly make. A lot of times people ask me, when you hear the sauce breaking, that means that oil has separated and there's really no turning back, but there are some tricks that you can do. So if you have a sauce that breaks and the oil separates, take it off the heat and add cold fat. So you want to add a couple of tablespoons of heavy cream, or half and half. Stir it vigorously off the stove, and then it should come together, and then you're going to heat it gently back up. That should work for you. If not, you got to start over. Okay, so I'm in a spoon. I wanted a light Alfredo sauce today. I didn't want a real heavy, thick sauce because the cavatelli are pretty hearty. So we'll just spoon that right on top. This is Sunday supper, right? And one more little spoonful. Take that off the heat, and we'll top it with our basil. And there we go. Homemade cavatelli, homemade Alfredo sauce. That's the way to cook like an Italian. When we come back, a very, very fun treat made out of bread dough that you're going to absolutely love. We're cooking like an Italian. Welcome back to Cook Like an Italian. We're making something that is so fun. This is called Sicilian Figulata, and it is a rolled out pizza dough loaded with any kind of goodie that you possibly want, whatever you decide, and then it's rolled up, cut, and smashed. Now, if that doesn't make any sense, I'm going to walk you through. One of the most important things I could share with you is how to get your dough a beautiful rise, and that is good yeast. I want you to see what your yeast needs to look like. Look at that. It is healthy, it's alive, it is ready to go in that flour, and it's going to make beautiful dough. The secret here is a good yeast. I use Safe Instant at the school, SAF Instant. You can get it online. It's an active dry yeast. And also what yeast loves is sugar. So I add equal amounts, a tablespoon of yeast, a tablespoon of sugar. This is what happens. The other thing, and it could sabotage your yeast, is if your water is too cold or too hot. So too cold and it won't bloom. And if it's too hot, it'll kill the yeast. Look at this. When you get your yeast to look like that, it's ready to go into your bowl of flour to make the dough. So keep an eye on that, because this is what I want your yeast to look like when you're making it at home. If it doesn't, go through the checkpoints and find out why. All right, I've got my beautiful homemade dough all rolled out. I'm doing a great big rectangle. And I'm going to, first of all, give it some good flavor with olive oil, good olive oil. And I'm using Queen Creek olive oil all the time now. They're from Queen Creek, Arizona. They just won an international award for their extra virgin olive oil. They're a real destination spot in Arizona. They have a beautiful tour of the orchards. They have 12,000 trees, 160 varieties of olives, and they are quite the big hit in Arizona. This will make everything taste better, and I'll give you more information about where to find it in just a little bit. So I'm just going to drizzle some of the Queen Creek olive oil right on there. I'm going to give it just a little bit of a border because we're going to roll it up. Just a little more. Whoops, there we go. Nice. Okay, now this is where you fill it with anything you want. So I'm going to go in with a couple of different cheeses. This is a nice shredded mozzarella. I think I've got some Gruyere in here as well. So this is the opportunity for you to grab all your little bits and ends in the refrigerator. It's kind of a garbage pizza, right? So everything that you want to get rid of that's still good to eat, just put it in your Figulata. And then let's go with a little grated Parmigiano. Nothing wrong with lots and lots of cheese. Get that out to the end there. And let's see. Okay, so this is pepperoni. You could use mortadella, you could use salami, you could use veggies, but I think the pepperoni, and you know what, speaking of pepperoni and cheese, you know that kids love a good pepperoni and cheese pizza. Bring them into the kitchen to make the Figulata. Figulata equals fun, and you're going to turn your little bambini into Italian cooks. Okay, that looks great. And then I've got one more thing I want to add to that from Queen Creek. I'm going to go grab it, be right back. I got the next flavor bomb for you for the Sicilian Figulata. These are olives from Queen Creek Olive Mill in Arizona. These are the sun-baked tomato basil stuffed olives. They have mesquite smoked almond stuffed olives. They have so many different varieties. And what you need is something like this to just give your dish a pop. Look at that. It's going to be so much fun. Every little bite is going to have that burst of olive. And the last thing I'm going to do is add a little bit of garlic powder. Just a bit. Okay, now here's what we're going to do with this bad boy. We're going to roll it up into a log. Nice and tight. We're going to hide all the goodness. Make it a big secret. And like I said, you can use any ingredients you want. You could make it totally vegetarian. You could make it totally a meat lovers combination. I just happen to really love these flavors. Okay, pressing it down, right? Now we're gonna play. So let me get rid of the ends because they're sort of mostly just dough. And I'm gonna cut these into about 1/2-inch pieces. Okay, then I'm going to take the pieces and smash them together. So I'm going to do 3 and just smash, and then put it right on my baking sheet. It's so much fun because they just look, I love things that look crazy and organic looking, rustic, right? It's got to be rustic. So I'm just taking 3 pinwheels, smashing them down, and popping those on my tray. I'm going to finish these up. We'll get them in the oven about 400 degrees. They're only going to cook for about 15 minutes, and you'll see how fun these are. We'll be right back. We're cooking like an Italian. One more flavor bomb before it goes in the oven is we're going to use Queen Creek Olive Mill's bacon olive oil. Why not? That's what I say. Just drizzle it right on top. And oh my goodness, that essence of bacon. That would be a good show. Oh goodness. Okay, we'll be right back. I'm so excited about this. This is Figulata, and it just came out of the oven. Look at how funny they are. They're just so goofy and fun and delicious. Look at those olives and the pepperoni peeking out and the cheese. I absolutely love this, and you can just, you know, you pull it apart. Ooh, that's hot. It's a fun, just a fun treat. It's a great, great treat. And then what you're gonna do is sprinkle, you can dip it or put a little bit of tomato sauce, marinara sauce, dipping sauce right on top. But I think it's fun to just rip out pieces and dunk them. So that is Figulata. That's what we made today. And we also made homemade cavatelli with the little discs. So, so easy. So make these with your kids. They will have such a good time with the cavatelli machine and also making the funny Figulata where you smash it. I want to thank you so much for letting me share my Italian heart with you today. You can find all of the recipes, all of the utensils and gadgets that I'm using on the show. If you like them, just go right to jandiatri.com and I've got all the information for you. And I want to thank my awesome sponsors, Queen Creek Olive Mill for their delicious olives and olive oil, Pasta Armando, 100% organic pasta from Italy, Strictly From Scratch Bakery, iHealth Networks, Bloomfield Builders, and Arizona Farm Bureau and fillyourplate.org. And we will see you next time when we cook like an Italian. Ciao, ciao.